Welcome to Ancestral Garden. I want you to look at this fruit. It is brown. It is wrinkled. It is mushy. It looks like something you would find at the bottom of a compost bin after 2 weeks. If you saw this on a supermarket shelf today, you would call the manager. You would say it is rotten. You would say it is garbage. But you would be wrong. This ugly brown blob was once more valuable than gold. It sat on the golden plates of King Henry VIII. It was the favorite snack of Queen Victoria. Shakespeare wrote about it in his plays. It is called the Medlar, and here is the mind-blowing truth. This is the only fruit in the world that you cannot eat when it is fresh. If you bite into a beautiful hard green medlar, it will dry out your mouth like chalk. It is inedible. To unlock its flavor, you have to do something that goes against every survival instinct you have. You have to let it rot, or at least, that is what it looks like. Why did the kings and queens of Europe love this strange fruit? And why, after 1,000 years of popularity, did it suddenly vanish from the face of the earth? The answer tells us a dark truth about our modern food system. We have traded flavor for beauty. By the end of this video, I will introduce you to the winter sugar that saved the medieval world, and I will show you how to eat it, if you are brave enough. To understand the value of this fruit, you have to turn off your modern brain. Forget your refrigerator. Forget the grocery store that sells strawberries in December. Imagine you are living in medieval England. The year is 1400. Winter has arrived. The ground is frozen. The apple cellar is empty. The pears have rotted away. There is no chocolate. There is no cane sugar. Your diet consists of salted meat, stale bread, and root vegetables. It is gray, cold, and tasteless. You are desperate for sweetness. You are craving energy. And then, you walk out into the snow and you see a twisted, thorny tree. Hanging from the branches are brown, soft orbs. While every other tree is dead asleep, the medlar is just waking up. It is the only fruit in Europe that ripens after the frost. When you crack it open, it doesn't taste like a vegetable. It tastes like spiced apple butter mixed with wine and honey. For a medieval peasant, finding a medlar tree was like finding a candy store in the middle of a desert. For the rich, it was the grand finale of a Christmas feast. They served it with roasting chestnuts and fine port wine. It was valuable because it was unique. It thrived when everything else died. So, if it is so delicious and so resilient, why is it extinct in our supermarkets? Why have you never seen one? The answer is painful. It is not because of the fruit. It is because of us. We live in the age of Instagram. We live in the age of fast food. We want our apples to be shiny red and hard as rocks so they can be shipped around the world without bruising. We want instant gratification. The medlar refuses to play that game. It is ugly, it is brown, and it demands patience. You cannot eat it when you buy it. You have to wait. We drove this fruit into extinction because we became superficial. We started judging our food by how it looks, not how it tastes. I want to ask you a serious question about your own habits. If I gave you a fruit that looked brown and mushy but tasted like gourmet dessert, would you eat it? Or would you throw it in the trash because it looks bad? Be honest. Type taste if you follow your tongue. Type looks if you follow your eyes. Let's see if this community is ready to embrace the ugly truth. Because what happens inside that brown skin is not actually rotting. It is a sophisticated chemical process that modern science is just beginning to understand. To the untrained eye, a brown, soft medlar looks like death, but to a biochemist, it looks like magic. The technical term for this process is bletting. It comes from the French word bletter, which means to make soft. Here is what is actually happening inside the fruit. When you pick a medlar off the tree in late autumn, it is hard as a stone. If you try to bite it, you will break a tooth. And even if you manage to chew it, it is filled with tannins, the same bitter compound found in unripe persimmons or very strong tea. It will suck every drop of moisture out of your mouth. It is nature's way of saying, I am not ready. But unlike an apple that ripens on the branch, the medlar ripens off the branch. You have to take these hard stones and place them in a box of straw or sawdust. You put them in a cool, dark place. And you wait. You wait for weeks. During this time, the fruit is not being attacked by bacteria, which causes rot. Instead, an internal enzyme called pectinase wakes up. This enzyme begins to break down the cell walls, the pectin that holds the fruit together. It is a form of self-digestion. The hard, starchy flesh turns into a soft, sugary custard. The bitter tannins disappear. The acids neutralize. The starch converts into fructose and glucose. It is the exact same principle as aging a fine steak or fermenting a block of blue cheese. It is controlled decay. We accept this process for alcohol. We accept it for cheese. But for some reason, we forgot how to accept it for fruit. We forgot the art of patience. But once the alchemy is complete, the medlar reveals its final secret. And unfortunately, that secret is its shape. A shape so distinct and so rude that it gave this fruit a nickname that would get you banned from polite society today. You see, the medlar does not look like a normal apple or a pear. It has a very wide, gaping hollow at the bottom surrounded by 5 jagged sepals. In the Middle Ages, people were much less sensitive than we are today. They called things exactly as they saw them, and what they saw looked like a backside. In 14th century England, nobody called this fruit the medlar. Commoners, knights, and even poets called it the open-arse. I am not making this up. Geoffrey Chaucer wrote about it in the Canterbury Tales. William Shakespeare made a dirty joke about it in Romeo and Juliet, where Mercutio teases Romeo about his love life using this fruit as a metaphor. Even the French were brutal. They called it cul de chien, which translates to the dog's bottom. Why does this matter? Because it proves that this fruit wasn't just some obscure plant growing in a monastery garden. It was everywhere. It was the slang of the streets. It was the joke of the tavern. It was deeply embedded in the culture of Europe. But today we have sanitized our supermarkets. We removed the rude fruit. And in doing so, we lost the flavor that Shakespeare loved. So let's assume you are brave enough to get past the name. Let's assume you have waited weeks for the fruit to turn brown and soft. How do you actually eat it? Do not bite into it. The skin is tough and leathery. Instead, you treat it like a natural squeeze pouch. You bite off the top and you squeeze the bottom. The inside comes out like a thick, dark mousse. And the flavor. It is shocking. It does not taste like a fruit. It tastes like a dessert that a chef spent hours preparing. Imagine a baked apple mashed together with cinnamon cloves and a splash of expensive port wine. It has the texture of rich apple butter or a medjool date. It is warm, spicy, and deeply sweet. It is the taste of a medieval Christmas. When you eat a medlar, you realize why the kings wanted it on their table. In a world without spices, this fruit was the spice. But before you run out to plant a tree in your backyard, there is one final secret about the medlar that makes it the perfect tree for the modern gardener. Yet also the reason why commercial farmers hate it. The reason you can't buy medlars at the store is simple logistics. Once the fruit is bletted and ready to eat, it is essentially a bag of mush. You cannot stack it in a crate. You cannot put it on a truck. It would explode into jam before it reached the market. It is a fruit that demands to be eaten right where it grows. It is the ultimate anti-capitalist fruit. But for you, the home gardener, it is perfect. Here is why you need a medlar tree, Mespilus germanica, in your garden. 1. The frost-proof bloom. Most fruit trees like apricots or peaches bloom early. A sudden late frost comes in spring, kills the flowers, and you get zero fruit for the year. The medlar is smart. It blooms very late in late May or June. It almost never loses its crop to frost. It is a guaranteed harvest. 2. The ornament. Even if you never eat the fruit, the tree is stunning. It has massive white flowers that look like wild roses. In the autumn, the leaves turn a burning mix of red, orange, and purple. It stays small and manageable, perfect for a modern backyard. 3. The winter harvest. When your garden is dead and gray in November and December, the Medlar is just getting started. It gives you a reason to go outside in the cold. It gives you a harvest when everyone else is buying imported fruit. We have been trained to think that food should be fast, convenient, and pretty. The Medlar is none of those things. It is slow. It is messy. And let's be honest, it is ugly. But it teaches us a lesson that we have forgotten. Real flavor requires patience. And real beauty is often hidden beneath a rough skin. If we let these ancient plants die out, we don't just lose a fruit. We lose a piece of our history. We lose the flavor that Shakespeare tasted. So I challenge you. Find a space in your garden for the ugly duckling of the fruit world. Wait for the frost. Let it rot. And take a bite of history. If you are ready to look past the appearance and taste the gold type winter gold in the comments below. Hit the like button to keep history alive and subscribe to Ancestral Garden because the best treasures are the ones that everyone else threw away.